and I did it
So today,
many
of our
traders.
And we'll give you
I can
specific
start
recommendations
to learn
for every budget
their
level to get you the
trading
best
process,
CPU
right?
and GPU combo
So
for gaming
obviously I
in
go through
2023.
their
Remember,
trades,
if you get value
and
out of the video, please give it a
ask
like.
them
It really
questions
helps
in
out the
regards
channel.
to their
And of course,
strategies
subscribe
and
and
the way
click
they
that
handle
bell icon.
things.
That way you get
And one of
notified
the things that I
release
saw
cool
is
content.
maybe
That,
going back to
let's jump
what
into
Saul
it.
mentioned,
The first thing to understand
is
is
that
bottlenecking. Now,
some of them
bottlenecking
will
just
have
means that one of our
drawdown
components is limiting our
right from the
performance.
beginning of
And if we could
the stage
upgrade that component
when
to
they
make
started
it
to
faster,
trade, and
then
then
our
they will
overall
bounce
system performance
off
would
of it.
increase. Now, the
And I
bottleneck
always
that
ask
occurs
them,
most
do you
often for
remember
PC
what
builds
happened,
is the
what
CPU
got you into
versus
the
the
loss,
GPU.
and how did you
So if our CPU is too slow to keep up with our
yourself out of
GPU,
that
then
state,
increasing
right?
the speed of the CPU
And
will
the
give us
answer
more
in most
FPS.
cases would be
If our
getting
GPU is our
to
bottleneck,
main
then getting a faster
answers
GPU
like that.
instead would increase our
Is
performance.
that
Note that the CPU is
they
more likely to
understood that
bottleneck when we're
if
pushing
they're not
huge
doing
amounts
something
of freight.
different,
And our
they will
GPUs likely to be the bottleneck to return up the rest of
then if it's meant
And the
to
second
fly,
thing,
then it goes
they
from
say,
there.
okay, now that I understand
You might
that,
get lucky.
I
This might be
gotta
one of those
change, I
times
gotta
that you break
shift
out of this
my
consolidation like this,
trading.
and it just
They say
flies.
I'm taking a step back.
But it's
Once
unlikely.
they do that,
You
taking that
most
step
likely
back
they're going to pull
and
back,
holding themselves, waiting for the right setup,
test this,
and not just trying to,
broke.
win for that one lucky
and then
trade.
maybe it continues from there.
They
Otherwise,
see
it
the
just break through and go
outcome
back
and
fail.
basically the bounce
So let's see what
off
happens.
of those lows. So this is something that I literally hear from every single trader that I interviewed. Because in most cases, you're as a trader, you have this FOMO, right? Fear of missing out, and you're just trying to find that setup and just click the mouse key. In most cases, you can't even wait like an hour until you execute a trade. You just wanna trade because we love to trade. This is something that drives us. But in the end, you gotta have that patience or the ability to sit on your hands and wait for that moment when you understand
DC1 continuation
this is
potential of a
my
121.5.
A+ setup, and this is where I
that's
can
triggered
enter
now.
and execute that trade.
I should see a $10
If you
push
do
towards
that, if you have the
130s.
ability to control yourself in that
If this
regard,
DC1
then
works out,
you will see some better, at the end, better results. So this is something that will help you. A lot of the guys that are listening right now, just try to focus on that and craft that. You will automatically see a positive outcome in the near future. And this is something that also consistent traders will have in common.
So taking that step back and having more of a holistic view of your whole trading can really open up your mind to what it is you're doing.
Yeah, just wait for that moment, the right moment. Don't try to take any type of trade. Wait until you get to that, let's say, like if you trade in supply and demand, right? Just wait
now
for that area.
it's going to come back.
Trading within that range and not waiting for that liquidity level, then you're missing the whole point. Where is the good stuff? Where is the chances of succeeding is higher than none. Just wait for that specific setup, the right one.
Fantastic. And then to the contrary, Gil, I wanna send it your way, and this is probably one of my favorite topics out there. It's learning from losses, right? I think losses can be one of the best learning moments, whether they're big, whether they're small, but the most interactive learning moments and emotional learning moments in trading. From what you've seen in your personal experience, how do successful traders learn from their losses, and what practices do they follow to bounce back?
Did come back as I thought.
Well, losses is a huge obstacle or challenge to deal with because taking losses or admitting that you're on a loss and taking it, it is very counterintuitive to whatever we are brought on. Like in sports, when we are losing, we're trying harder. In trading, you cannot try harder. You need to
Nonetheless, it was a
go
good long,
back
guys.
and be more in the zone, more concentrated, more accurate. It's very counterintuitive, not revenge on this. So taking losses and doing all the a lot of practices of how to take that emotional pain that is taking a loss process that you need to do with yourself and work over time. I urge every trader that acknowledge that he or she has an issue with taking losses, and it feels painful on the soul to take this, and is to work on this, to work on the mental strength of taking it. And what is truly challenging about it is just imagine who didn't have that situation
If, of course,
where
this
you
5 minutes
actually
uptrend line does
took
come out,
the loss,
Hosting
and
is
then
that,
the market
short,
reversed
so
back, and you said, okay, if
where
I
the
would
Okay,
wait,
no.
what would happen next
able
time? Next
to
time
switch
you
sides.
would be not taking that loss, and that loss will avalanche and collapse you, and there you lost your consistency and hard pain and the hard work, days of work in just one trade. So we are going back to how to achieve consistency, and this is where you need to stick with the rules. I say it's part of my process of how I can embrace taking losses because it's painful. I say that as long as I took a loss
So I'm going to take a shot
that
at a long
was
four,
complying with my trading plan,
6 region.
I consider this as a win. Because if a loss would be bigger than
I'm playing the uptrend line here for the 5 minute. I'm also
it will
entering at
destroy my consistency and my progress. It will also destroy my mental, because I will never have a benchmark to do or not to do, and then I lost my discipline. So, you need to hack your own mind all the time, and you need to be smarter than your emotions on this, and try to find ways, because there are no secrets. From day one, everyone teaches us you need to take your stop the way that you planned it, but for some reason many people can't do it. I see a lot of traders that are disciplined for a very long time, and they working wonderfully, and then suddenly at one point they are not concentrated enough, and they take a bigger loss, and then they have lost interest in the account, and they just blow it away. So if you didn't take your loss and the market turned around and you break even your trade, or even you make a profit, it's not a win. You lost, because trading, it's about a whole portfolio. It's about a lifetime or a career time journey where you make more money than you lose. So you cannot consider that doing a mistake and winning, or doing the right thing and losing, is the same thing. You have to embrace and find ways to actually love and respect your losses. And I know it's hard. You have to play tricks on yourself.
It is a tricky mental game, and it's something we discussed last week, Dream, with Trade Delicious, with Bren, who had a losing day, and he was being very hard on himself because he lost. But when you dove into how he lost, he did everything he was supposed to do. And there's something key that I picked up from what you said there is if you hit a loss, but you've done everything you were supposed to do, you've planned for it, and you know they're coming, then it's technically mentally a win, because you've done everything properly. And if anything, it's just reaffirming that your risk management process is in place.
That's my hack. This is my way to re-justify or to reason with how I can embrace my stops and like it. I think if I'm, hitting your stop is not a failure, because we are speculating in the market. We never know what the market will do, what kind of impulse we are being influenced by, right? So we're playing a risk game. A risk game is taking an unknown situation and calculating your risk in it. So a loss is inevitable. I see a portfolio that has 99% win rate. I know something is wrong. I know the guy behind this portfolio is not admitting to loss. He's not and he's playing lucky for a while until it's not working. You know, he doesn't have any consistency for the long time. So if you want to be truly good, you need to realize that you need to place your trade in the market, let the market play by your rule book, and love your stop loss. When you hit your loss the way that you planned, you need to go to your friends and be a hero about it. I took it the way it is because the statistics will get me to be a winner.
Yeah, I think the saying we have for that in Trade Delicious is take it like a champ. Take it like a champ. But you should. You come in bold about your losses, especially if you've done everything right.
A loss is not a right? A loss as long as it's within your working plan, it's a win because you've done everything right. The market didn't let you this time, but statistically you should be winning over time.
Yeah, which relays us back to that consistency topic, right? It relays us back that we don't know what we're speculating, we don't know, we believe we have an edge, so as long as we bet enough in the long term, we should turn a profit. So directing this conversation over to you, how do you feel about consistency rules? Do you feel they restrict traders from getting funded rather than talking about trading, rather than talking about getting funded here?
This is a tricky one. I'll tell you what. I think the industry has modeled, sometimes in a bad way, traders should be trading. So when we start learning about trading, we learn about stop losses, different trading, and suddenly you get into the industry and overwhelmed with the amount of offers and accounts that there are. Traders are trying to attempt to get funded. And they try to get funded as quick as possible, and they just disrespect all of the risk management rules, and they try to get funded with high leverage trade and so on. And we in the Fivers we have 3 different programs, and we have the program with less consistency rules and programs with more consistency rules, and we see the difference, in passing rates and in achievement rates. So we do see that those with more restriction, more consistency rules, like our bootcamp program, for example, has less passing rate. But I can tell you, traders over there are staying longer once funded. Okay, they keep their accounts for longer and they scale up many times, and their payouts are much larger than in programs with lower. With less consistency rules. Back in the day, we used to have a program, once the program called the instant, the low risk program, and then we introduced a version of that called the aggressive once the program, which was basically the same program, just with more leverage and no restrictions, rules of having stop losses in place and all of that, and the other one had the rules and low leverage.
And what's very frustrating about today is that the initial
eye-opener to see that traders with more rules, the rule of having less stop loss, less leverage, they were succeeding more. They were passing more programs, and they were withdrawing more money, and they were scaling up their accounts more, and they were staying with their accounts for longer.
That was my mistake.
And so it's like counterintuitive to what we're saying, because I know traders don't want to get funded fast. They want the high leverage. They don't want the consistency rules. They don't want to have stop losses in place.
Shifting into
but
a downtrend
we know from data years now that consistency rules are there for the best of the traders. And just a quick story related to that.
So the
2019,
method that I shared
was
here this
raising capital
morning,
from investors,
plan, the
family
way
and
of seeing
friends,
things
and all of
worked out
that.
just fine.
In order to convince investors
we
to
just
give you
have human
their
error
money, you need
on
to
my
show
end.
them consistency.
Now
You
we're
need to
shifting
show them
to
track
the
record,
shorts if you
years,
want to.
show them consistency and your numbers, and the fact that you can manage risk, and that filter or that request is no longer. Traders they don't need to do that anymore in order to start managing funds capital. So they don't understand the importance of building a good track record and managing risk and keeping to consistency. So I think traders should aim for consistency and should try to trade on programs that request from their consistency rules, because once they're funded, they will perform even better and they will withdraw more money and they will keep their accounts for longer and they will scale up their accounts faster. So I know it's not what everyone wants to hear, but consistency rules are best for the traders.
I wish to add something for what Saul said. I remember back then when we had the aggressive and the low risk plan, people were sending us emails saying thank you for forcing me to place a stop loss because it made me a better trader. People told us thank you for forcing them to trade only 4% drawdown max because that made them a better traders. And that was an insightful moment for us, that we saw that people do appreciate the rules that we put on them, and this is part of what a prop trading, what kind of role a prop trading firm plays for its traders. Because when you have an account and you have the freedom to do all the mistakes in the world, you're probably going to do it. And we know that trading is a lonely game. You don't have any authorized or more skilled or experienced person around your shoulder telling you you've done something wrong. You pay for your wrongs. And if you have a framework that force you to mitigate your risks, people actually being thankful after they experiencing that. So seeing consistency rule as something that limits you, I think it's the counterintuitive for that. It's probably the very much opposite.
And maybe Jordan, I can add to that as well. As I mentioned, while doing the interviews for funded traders at Trader Pool, I see that I used to get a lot of rejections on Discord that say, why do I need this set of rules, and so on and so on. And every one of the funded traders will tell me otherwise. They will actually tell me, you know what, those consistency rules, or those rules in general of that program, is what helped me eventually pass the evaluation. The risk parameters, the risk management rules, that's what got me into the funded phase, basically. So you can see that once you get yourself out of that, why do I need rules? Thinking and actually looking at it on the positive side, how can that benefit me, as Saul and Gil just mentioned? Then you can actually focus on your trading, because we got you covered. At the end, you want to trade with a prop because we control the risk for you, and this is by far the most important thing in trading. And I guess the number one reason why traders will fail, because they cannot control the risk, basically, right? You want to close the trade before it will blow your account, your retail account, but we will do that for you. So we are actually protecting your trading and not doing against you. This is super important. You see every
I think there's a lot of positives from a trader's perspective to have a look into that, and as long as the firm and the trader is aligned and you are both, and you can see that you're evidently aligned, then your success will
we did a big event in London, and because we are located a little bit off the continent of Europe, we don't get much the opportunity to meet with our traders, but especially not in a big gathering event like we did. And for me, it was a very strong experience to meet with our traders and see how much they are happy with the framework that we're providing them, and how much they are happy with the community that we're creating for them, and how proud they are to trade with us and with their own progression as becoming more and more professional traders. And for me, it was like I had done something good for the world, helping out people, being funded, trading significant accounts, being able to provide for their families with a career platform that we built for them. For me, I was very proud of them. I was very proud of my team. I was very proud of everything. For me, that is by far the most emotional, significant moment of 2023. But in 2023, we've done a lot of other projects. At first, before that project that I'm very proud of, Saul and Miki were leading this project, and I really applaud for them. But I think Saul and Miki are more qualified to tell more about the other project that we've done. We accomplished so much because they take the lead on this. I'm just here on the higher level, helping on the strategy of the company, but they are actually the people that make everything happen here. So I'll give them the respect to brag about it.
Awesome. All right, let's start with you, Sal. 2023. Biggest insights and lessons that's gone on this year.
Yeah, well, there's many. We did so much, and as we getting to the end of the year, we also reviewed what we've done, and launching programs and event and accounts and risk department and the success department, and a lot of infrastructure. And it's a very long list. And we have a video to show that. But I think the insight at the end is, the industry is growing, and of course we have the military event, one of the largest shutting down, and that really made me realize that we need to always stay true to our values and to our principles, and we need to not going into places we don't want or feel comfortable going, and we need to stay true to our traders, and we need to protect the brand, shape the brand, and improve and keep the brand healthy, and always being with our best interest aligned to our traders, and always keeping our traders and their performance and their experience in mind when we take any decision. That's the only way it will trust us, and it will get us really happy. That means it will learn back to us, look at us, what we're doing, and just know what we're doing. So, big things. Our traders are really to us. Do know that every decision we make is
and see this thing happen. My expectation is that the companies, the layer of the company, the ones that provide that opportunity, will join together and start discussing how we can create an ethic manifest to help overcome a lot of confusion that is around and involved in the discussion around. And I think at one point, if all the companies or the majority leading companies would be agreeing on some rules of ethical ways of doing or not doing, this would be the step forward into it more mature and respectable and responsible growth. So this is what I would hope to be in 2023, 24, and I don't foresee a lot of legal obstacles like people see. Maybe we'll start seeing some hints about this, but and if we do, welcome this and we're ready for it. But these things are taking a very long time to evolve, and I don't see it for 2024. So at least for our end, we are prepared to bring some new approach and new added value to our traders as always we do, and just to move forward and hopefully we just gather together and create a unified standards of service.
Beautiful. And looking into 2024, keeping on that tune, Mike, what advice would you give a couple of traders to prepare for the anticipated market conditions of 2024?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll start maybe by saying, as traders, if we're looking at the angle of a trader and not an investor, right? So there are, let's even dive in just a little bit even before that. There are traders, there are analysts, right? And what we do is supposed to be the traders, the one that executing the trades really, and not just fantasizing on prediction or just thinking what will happen. We don't really know what will happen in 2024 in the markets. And to be honest, we don't really care because we trade in what we see, right? We have a plan. Once we saw the scenario that we just waited to see on the chart. So once it occurred, then we click the mouse key and actually execute it. So as a speculator, trader, shouldn't care about like what the market will do
opportunity. I do have a couple that have come in previously, and I wanted to just address those if possible. So we'll start with you, Sal. This is a question from Leon Trader. He's asked, can you please explain on how the company mitigating profitable traders with huge profit while they are funded? That doesn't quite make sense to me, but does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think the intention of the question is how do we deal with traders making a lot of money? And I don't think,
I believe that's
yeah, I don't think mitigating is important because I talk about the profiling between risk management department. So once we learn a trader, once we identify his trading style, because of his activity, we can take advantage of those. So it's not a conflict of interest from him making money because he can take his activity and like times whatever amount out of the market and make money that he makes and so on. So we just align with him.
Yeah, very well. And this one's for you, Michael, from Arnie Pantaleon. It says, do you have a system that automatically controls the daily drawdown? What I mean is a system that automatically closes all the trades before hitting that maximum daily drawdown.
Right, that's a great one. I guess we're trading Forex. On our side, in trading pool, once you reach the daily drawdown, you're not out of the game. So you won't terminate your account, basically. We do have a system, like built-in system, that once you reach that daily loss, we will close your positions and obviously close your account for that specific day. But the next day, you will have the opportunity to trade as usual. So we're not reaching, basically when we reach the daily loss, you're not reaching termination, just a stop for that day.
I've got another question for you, Michael, which I quite like this one. If you can relate any stock in the way that it trades or its features to a currency pair, which would you advise an upcoming trader to focus more on that will give them a technical and quantitative analysis experience?
Wow, okay. I mean, so just to make sure I understood, it, just to compare Forex pair to a simple stocks.
Correct, to an equity.
So I guess when I traded Forex, I had like 5 or 6 months traded Forex. It was great, by the way. Very profitable. In the end, we couldn't control everything, and I like the stocks traded Forex. And then
You don't have to apologize.
so I used to trade mostly yen, so like pound yen, most cases, dollar yen, cut yen. For me, I'm looking for volatility, right? And in most cases, those pairs at least, again, I'm not a big expert on Forex, but those pairs will usually have this volatility that I'm looking for. And also in the stock market, when you're trading or looking for opportunities, you want to go for that. You want to find those assets that are moving today specifically because of the news, or generally, like I said, Tesla or Google or Amazon will move every day, right? If you are more looking at volatile stocks, you usually trade
until Sunday included, okay, until the 31st night, we're going to offer a 20K bootcamp account only $1. Because we want, this is not a program that is available for purchasing, but we want traders to have this opportunity and not financial commitment being an aspect of a decision-making factor. So we want everyone who wants to try and improve his trading skills and his consistency to just come, take an account for $1, complete the evaluation phases, and get a funded 20K funded account. So that will be available since tomorrow. So just make sure to come on the website, dashboard, apps, and you will see the account available for $1.
What an opportunity. No more barriers. Start 2024 off right for just $1. That's the opportunity, guys. That is going to wrap up Express today. So I want to thank every single person who's come to tune in and enjoy it. If you have enjoyed it, make sure you let us know. If you want some more content like this, you can head over to YouTube on Trade Delicious, the Vibers, and Trade or Career Bar Accounts. It's got an abundance of content for you guys to be able to absorb. If you want to see some more of us, I want to say a really big thank you to our really prestigious guests, Mr. Gilman, Mr. Sarkodia, and Mr. Mark Buchanans. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing your insights with the audience and with myself to end 2023 right. Thank you, traders. Happy New Year. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
Resolution from 1080p to 1440p to 4K, including if the GPU does not have enough VRAM to run the latest AAA titles on release at high or ultra settings, as we've seen from recent games like Last of Us Part 1, Hogwarts Legacy, Forspoken, and others. But here's the thing that even experienced PC builders get wrong. No matter what, our system will always have a bottleneck. It's our job as PC builders to understand how to maximize our system performance, whether that's in gaming, streaming, video editing, or heavy multi-threaded workloads. Once we figure that out, we want to spend most of our budget on the component that's bottlenecking our performance. For gaming, we want to maximize our FPS or frames per second. That means getting the fastest GPU we can afford, but only spending enough on a CPU that will not bottleneck the graphics card. This depends on your budget. Hey, the less you have to spend, the more important it is to get the balance right. Obviously, if you have an unlimited budget, you'll just get the best of everything and spend around $4,000 for the ultimate gaming system. But most of you out there have a set amount of money that you can spend, so choosing the best CPU and GPU combo will heavily impact your gaming performance. Remember that as we go up in CPU core count, we also need to add more hardware. And especially for Intel CPUs, we need to buy a better motherboard, which also costs more money, along with the price differences between DDR4 and DDR5 RAM. So we'll take all of this into consideration. For example, say we want to build a gaming PC with a Ryzen 5600 CPU and a Radeon RX 6600 XT 8GB GPU, and we decide to increase our budget another $100. Where should we spend it? Now, we could upgrade the CPU to a Ryzen 7600, which overall is quite a bit faster than the Ryzen 5600. But at this GPU performance level, it's only going to give us slightly more FPS because our GPU is the bottleneck, not the CPU. So we just spent our extra $100 on the Ryzen 7600, not to mention more on the DDR5 RAM as well, for about a 5% increase in FPS. Not great. Instead, if we spent that extra $100 to jump up to an RX 6700 XT 12GB GPU, and we keep a Ryzen 5600 CPU, we'll pick up about 45% more FPS because we're spending our while budget GPU shoppers, you're likely going to have to compete with 8 gigabytes of VRAM, I recommend moving that towards 10 or 12 gigabyte GPUs if your budget will stretch that far. And I would prioritize this over a slightly faster GPU with only 8 gigabytes of VRAM. I'm looking at you, RTX 4060 and 4060 Ti. The second thing to consider is GPU driver overload. We've seen repeated testing that AMD GPUs require less CPU resources than NVIDIA GPUs. It seems to just come down to driver overload. While the differences, they're not huge, they are noticeable with lesser CPUs. So we've taken that into account in our recommendations. Let's talk briefly about future-proofing, because this is an area I often see so many CPU and GPU combo mistakes. Some people still think you should future-proof your CPU by buying a faster one than you need right now, so that in 2 to 5 years from now, you do upgrade your GPU with slightly more FPS out of it. In my opinion, while there are some decisions like this to be made, for budget levels commanded very high, and most systems in between, this strategy means sacrificing an entire GPU performance right now. So for instance, getting an RX 6700 XT instead of a much faster RX 6700 XT. So the future proofing strategy costs you FPS right now and maybe get slightly more FPS in 2 to 5 years time. In the end, this is your call, because after all, it's your money. But if you want to maximize FPS for your money spent, then focus on maximizing efficiency. Well, what about production workloads that need more CPU power? Well, for those use cases, probably more balance. But if you focus heavily on the type of programs that we use, take emulating with Adobe or your friends. Coming up from Unported this night, Premier still tries to max out on how many CPUs and then only what. So going overkill on your CPU at the expense of your GPU, which is still very much needed for video editing, might actually set your performance back. Meanwhile, other programs can use all the CPU resources you can throw at them, and they don't really use the GPU very much at all. That is why it's so important for professional users to understand their suite of software programs and the recommended system requirements so that you can figure out the right CPU and GPU balance for your applications. Let's jump into our recommendations for best CPU and GPU combo for gaming in 2023, and we'll go through both AMD Ryzen as well as Intel CPU offerings. Note that we are expecting 14th gen Intel CPUs to begin launching sometime in early fall of this year. We do a monthly update video for both CPU and GPU pricing, so I'll leave those linked down in the video description. And of course, all the CPU and GPUs that I'm going to talk about are linked there as well, so you can check current pricing. Starting off with the budget level, you can build a gaming PC right now for just under $500 US. Now at this level, we really want the cheapest CPU platform that just won't bottleneck our GPU. Right now, Intel's i3-1200F and the Ryzen 5500, they're both excellent options paired with the inexpensive motherboards. A $100 B660 for the i3-1200F and an $80 B450 with BIOS flashback for the Ryzen 5500. They both come with very good included CPU coolers, and we're using both with a $50 kit of 2x8GB DDR4 3600 CL16 RAM, though you can get a $30 kit of 3200 CL16 if it helps you improve your GPU. The total cost of these platforms is between $220 and $239. For our GPU, we could go all the way down to a used RX 570 for about $55, or on the new market, a Radeon RX 6600 for $179, an RTX 3050 for $220, or an Intel Arc A750 GPU for about $220. Note the RTX 3050 is considerably slower than those other GPUs. And my advice is to avoid any GPU with less than 8GB of VRAM. Both the i3-1200F and Ryzen, or on the new market, a Radeon RX 6600 for $179, an RTX 3050 for $220, or an Intel Arc A750 GPU for about $220. Note the RTX 3050 is considerably slower than those other GPUs. And my advice is to avoid any GPU with less than 8GB of VRAM. Both the i3-1200F and Ryzen 5500, they're very capable gaming CPUs, and you can push them all the way to an RX 6700 XT or RTX 3060 Ti performance, possibly a little higher if you can get a good deal on a GPU, but don't have the money to upgrade the CPU. Here, I would prioritize getting to a recent GPU with more than 8GB of VRAM if you can. and if you want to play the latest AAA titles on release at ultra settings. So the RX 6700 10GB non-XT version, the 6700 XT 12GB, RTX 3060 12GB, or the ARC A770 16GB. They're all viable options. The next CPU tier up I would look at is either the AMD Ryzen 5600 for $130 or the Intel i5 12400F, currently selling for $149. Now these CPUs have nearly identical performance, and with a GPU like the RX 6700 XT, we'll see about a 10 to 12% FPS increase over the previous tier of CPUs. I'll leave links to our build guides for both down in the video description, and in particular the i5 12400. It can be a little tricky as some of the cheaper V660 motherboards, they don't run it at the full rated frequency, so we do go through which ones to get. Currently a board like the MSI Pro B660M-A or B660M Aorus Pro AX sell for right around $120. For the Ryzen 5600, virtually any B550 motherboard with a VRM heatsink is absolutely fine. So something like the B550M DS3H AC, ASRock B550M Riptide, or the B550M Pro 4 with upgraded audio is great for about $100. We're using the same DDR4 3600 CL16 RAM kit for $50, and both CPUs come with a great included box cooler. This gives us an upgrade cost of between $59 and $99 over our previous tier of GPUs. For our GPU combo, I'd look at a minimum of an RX 6600, RTX 3050, or ARC A750 new GPUs. These CPUs scale pretty well, but they do hit a wall right around the RX 6950 XT or RTX 4070. And at that point, you'll definitely want to jump up to the next tier of CPU performance. Note that if you do need more cores for productivity, you can consider the Ryzen 5700X or Intel i5 13400, possibly even the 13500, but they don't give much more gaming performance, and there's much better options as we'll go over next. Jumping up to our mid-range to high-end gaming CPU and GPU combos, we actually have quite a few options here. With current pricing, I feel that our best options are either the Ryzen 7600 and 7600X for about $215 or a DDR4 RAM-equipped Intel i5 13600K or 13600KF for about $290. We have build guides for both the Ryzen 7600 and i5 13600K, which cover things like the difference between the 7600 and 7600X, as well as the 13600K versus the 13600KF, so check them out for more details. These CPUs will give us about 25% more FPS using an RX 6950 XT or RTX 4070 over the previous tier of CPUs. The Ryzen 7600 is the faster gaming CPU, with the i5 13600K with DDR4 the stronger and multi-core production work. For the Ryzen 7600, we're using a all the way up to the RX 7900 XTX or the RTX 4090. And at that point, if we still have money left over in our budget, our only option for more performance will be to upgrade the CPU because those are the fastest GPUs that are currently available. Given the fact that AMD's AM5 Ryzen 7000 platform will have future drop-in CPU upgrades, it's a lot harder to recommend the i5-13600K at current pricing. Right now, for about the same price as the i5-13600K platform, you get a Ryzen 7700 instead if you need the extra CPU power for multi-threaded production work, while still retaining that future upgradability. I want to give a quick honorable mention to the Ryzen 5800X 3D. At the time of filming the CPU, it's down to $290 US, and it's likely that price will keep on falling. So if you're currently on the AM4 platform with like a Ryzen 1000, 2000, or 3000 series CPU, heck, even a Ryzen 5600, 5800X, the Ryzen 5800X 3D will deliver similar performance to the Ryzen 7600 in gaming, often even beating it in really CPU-intensive titles. 7800X3D is about 8 to 10% faster than the i7-13700K, even when the i7 uses very fast DDR5 RAM. For the Ryzen 7800X3D build, we're using a mid-range to higher-end air cooler, like the lower-end Assassin 120 for $45, the same $140 B650 motherboard like the ASRock B650M Pro 4 Wi-Fi, and the $85 kit of 2x16GB DDR5 5600 CL32 RAM. Though in our testing, we found that due to the huge amount of V cache on the CPU, the RAM speed just didn't matter very much, and we got similar results with even cheaper DDR5 5200 CL40 RAM. For the i7-13700K, unfortunately DDR5 Z690 and Z790 motherboards run at least about $200 US, and the 2x16GB DDR5 7200 CL34K currently runs for $170. Though DDR5 RAM prices may continue to drop. That brings our upgrade cost for the 7800X3D to $230 over the previous CPU tier, and for the i7-13700K, the upgrade cost is $340 over the previous tier. For our GPU combos, for a minimum, I recommend the Radeon RX 7900 XT, currently selling for around $760, or the RTX 4070 Ti, selling for about the same price. Ideally, we want the fastest GPU possible, so RX 7900 XTX for AMD, currently selling for $950, and the currently $1,600 RTX 4090. Both CPU and GPU prices, as well as RAM and other component prices, they just continue to get cheaper in 2023, so remember to check out those links down in the video description for updated pricing. And remember that while we exclusively focused on FPS performance today, it's absolutely okay to spend money on other aspects of your PC build to bring you enjoyment. If you got value out of the video, please take a moment and give it a like, because it makes a huge difference to the channel. And of course, subscribe and click that bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. If you're looking for a deep dive into picking the best GPU for gaming 2023, then check out this video right here, where we go through all the differences between AMD, NVIDIA, and Intel GPUs, including features like FSR versus DLSS versus Exynos, as well as questions like, does it matter if you buy from Gigabyte, Asus, MSI, or someone else, and everything else versus Kong collaboration. And from November 16th to November 30th, there's an in-game event collaboration between World of Warships and the popular High School Fleet anime series. Jump in with multiple ship classes, 40 unique maps, and amazing graphics. And it's available on console as well. Download the game using the link in the video description. Use the promo code HSF2023 to receive a huge starter pack, including 200 doubloons, 1 million credits, 7 days premium account time, and 2 High School Fleet commanders. What are you waiting for? Jump into the action and get the promo using the link in the video description. Should you buy the Ryzen 5 7600 versus the Ryzen 5 7600X? Well, honestly, there's very little difference between them once you turn on Precision Boost Overdrive for both CPUs, which is something I recommend for best performance. Now, the only real differences are that the Ryzen 7600X is a tiny bit faster under full load with an ultra high-end GPU like the RTX 4090, while the Ryzen 7600, it comes with an included stock cooler, but I'm going to recommend replacing it anyway. My advice, just buy whichever is cheaper, and if there's the same price, grab the Ryzen 5 7600X. What's the best GPU for the Ryzen 7600? Remember, when we're designing a gaming PC, particularly with a tighter budget, we want to spend as much money as we can, getting the fastest graphics card that we can afford, then just get a CPU that won't bottleneck it. Now, it usually makes more sense to upgrade to the next GPU tier than upgrading the CPU until we get to much faster and more expensive graphics cards. Gaming price to performance is where the Ryzen 7600 shines over its Intel competitors like the i5-13600K or i5-14600K. The minimum GPU that I would recommend for a Ryzen 7600 is the Radeon RX 6700 XT or RTX 4060 Ti 16GB version. As anything below this, then we should probably be using a budget CPU platform like the Ryzen 5600 or Intel i5-12400, which are fine for lower end GPUs. At the higher end, you can take your Ryzen 7600 all the way to an NVIDIA RTX 4090 or AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX GPU. But I'd look to jump up to a more powerful Ryzen 7800 X3D with those graphics cards. That leaves a pretty wide range of GPUs for the Ryzen 7600, and some key values right now are the Radeon RX 7800 XT in this build. Big thank you to Gigabyte for sending over their gaming OC model, which right now retails for the MSRP of $499, and which I've seen tested by other outlets as one of the better 7800 XT models. My personal build has the RX 7900 XT, and it performs very well. On the NVIDIA side, the RTX 4070 is also very attractive GPU value, especially if you can find one closer to $520. We cover the best GPU for the money every month, so check out our monthly GPU market update video, link in the video description, to see what the current best GPU is for your money. What's the best RAM for the Ryzen 7600X and Ryzen 7600? The great news is that AMD completely fixed DDR5 RAM compatibility this summer. In fact, that's one of the reasons that we're updating our 7600 build guide to give you better RAM recommendations. It's also the reason I strongly urge you to update the BIOS on your motherboard to the latest non-beta version to ensure that you have this fixed. And we show you how to do this very easily using BIOS Flashback in our How to Build a PC guide, so I'll leave that link down in the video description. With the latest BIOS, the best speed in terms of both performance and price right now in the US market is either 6000 CL30 or 5600 CL28, as these are the same absolute latency and performance. I don't recommend exceeding 6000 speed, as it's been shown to negatively impact gaming performance. If you are in performance, I don't recommend exceeding 6000 CL30 or 5600 CL28, as these are the same absolute latency and performance. I don't recommend exceeding 6000 speed, as it's been shown to negatively impact gaming performance. If you are in a tougher DDR5 market outside the US, slower kits are fine, like 5600 CL32 or even 5600 CL36. Just remember that both speed and cache latency are important to judge the overall performance of RAM. In terms of the amount of RAM, on RAM, check out our Best RAM for Gaming 2023 video, also linked down in the video description. Right now in the US, a 2x16GB kit of DDR5 6000CL30 or 5600CL28, it's about $85 to $115. In particular, this Team Group T4 6000CL30 RGB kit has been the value champion at just under $100, and we've used a ton of them in ASUS, Gigabyte, ASRock, and MSI motherboards. Though I see some other kits now dropping to meet that price, including some nice RGB kits by ADATA. And there are some G-Skill Ripjaw kits as well. I'll leave several links in the video description, so check those out for pricing and availability in your region. So what's the best motherboard for Ryzen 7600? The great news is that AM5 motherboards for Ryzen 7000 will all allow a future CPU upgrade to at least the next generation of Ryzen CPUs, meaning you won't have to buy a brand new motherboard in order to upgrade. While all the chipsets can seem confusing, from A620 to B650 to B650E to X670 to X670E, you can safely ignore the A620 boards, which don't officially support Precision Boost Overdrive and cost about the same as the cheaper B650 motherboards, and also ignore the expensive X670 and X670E boards, as they don't offer any gaming features over B650. And there really isn't any gaming difference between B650 and B650E. So again, we're just looking for a board that offers the gaming features that we want at the best price. For a deeper dive, check out our Best Ryzen Motherboard 2023 video. So what B650 motherboard should you get? Well, right now, there's the budget tier motherboards, which offer most of the features that gamers want, except for improved audio, and they range about $110 to $180. Then we have boards that also include improved audio, but not much else, other than maybe they look a little nicer, and a couple of more upgraded USB ports. They start around $190 to $250. Now that's a pretty big gap, and you can buy an external DAC or a digital audio device which bypasses the analog onboard audio for about $50 to $70, so keep that in mind. My top recommendation for price to performance B650 motherboard right now in the US is this ASRock B650M Pro RS Wi-Fi, which I picked up for $140 towards, and the middle tier, other than some offer a couple more high-speed USB ports. If you do want to spend the extra money and get a board with improved audio, after all, you might have this board through several CPU upgrades, then here's the ones that I would look at. From MSI, the B650 Mortar, Tomahawk, or Edge Wi-Fi start around $199 to $230. From Gigabyte, the B650 AORS Pro AX or the Aero are identical boards with different styling, and the Aero is often under $200. Note that the AORS Elite does not have improved audio on it. And from ASUS, their Tough Gaming B650 Plus usually sells for around $215, but the Strix B650A is often just a little bit more for quite a bit more features. And recently we've seen sales on the B650F, which is what I'm currently using in my personal PC. ASRock doesn't really have anything with improved audio except for the relatively expensive Tai Chi board. I'll leave links to these motherboards in the video below, and you can check out current pricing and availability. Now let's talk about the best CPU cooler for the Ryzen 7600 and 7600X. The Ryzen 7600 comes with this included stock cooler, but I 100% recommend changing it out to at least a budget tower air cooler with 4 to 5 heat pipes like this Deepcool AG400 RGB cooler for around $25 to $30, or this Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo for about $35 to $40. Other budget tower air coolers are also fine in this performance range, but if you want to go up in cool, check out the Thermalright Fearless Assassin SE120 or the slightly cooler version they call the Phantom Spirit SE120 for about $35, or the Deepcool AG500 for the best thermals and noise, along with amazing aesthetics. You can go with a 240mm all-in-one liquid cooler, like the Deepcool LS520 in my personal
Benny's an
PC.
interesting
I set the
sport,
pump
but I
speed
gotta
at
tell ya,
78%
I
speed
don't like
for
it
0
because the
noise.
trend is
But
still to the
really,
downside
any decent
with lower highs and
240mm
lower lows.
AIO
Finding a great
will be
move
more
up
than
today,
enough.
though.
Note that with
There can
Precision Boost
be no doubt
Overdrive
about
turned
that
on,
12
the
and a
Ryzen
half
7600X is a bit more aggressive at eating up available cooling to boost slightly higher. But if the temperatures bother you, then make sure to go into the BIOS and just set a slightly lower maximum operating temperature like 89°C. Let's run through the rest of the parts. And we've got specific videos on the best PSU, the best cases, the best SSD for gaming if you want deeper dives. For the best SSD for our Ryzen 7600 gaming build, remember that even budget NVMe M.2 drives running at PCIe Gen 3 speed are way more than gaming can currently take advantage of. But drives with DRAM have become 76, you might have this board through 6.0 ports, the X50 and B650. While all the chipsets can seem confusing, from A620 to B650 to B650E to X670 to X670E, you can safely ignore the A620 boards, which don't officially support Precision Boost Overdrive and cost about the same as the cheaper B650 motherboards, and also ignore the expensive X670 and X670E boards, as they don't offer any gaming features over B650, and there really isn't any gaming difference between B650 and B650E. So again, we're just looking for a board that offers the gaming features that we want at the best price. For a deeper dive, check out our Best Ryzen Motherboard 2023 video. So what B650 motherboard should you get? Well, right now, there's the budget tier motherboards, which offer most of the features the gamers want, except for improved audio, and they range about $110 to $180. Then we have boards that also include improved audio, but not much else, other than maybe they look a little nicer and a couple of more upgraded USB ports. They start around $190 to $250. Now that's a pretty big gap, and you can buy an external DAC or a digital audio device which bypasses the analog onboard audio for about $50 to $70, so keep that in mind. My top recommendation for price and performance B650 motherboard right now in the US is this ASRock B650M Pro RS Wi-Fi, which I picked up for $140, but it's dropped to $125 during the holiday shopping period. While most boards in this price range have two M.2 SSD slots, this board has three M.2 slots and the M.2 Wi-Fi slot. It has a very robust VRM and could support even up to a Ryzen 7950X, and it has good enough for gaming rear I.O. with 4 high-speed USB ports, including a Type-C, along with 4 USB 2.0 ports for mice, keyboards, and lower bandwidth devices. Other boards to consider at the very low end are the Gigabyte B650M-K for about $110, MSI Pro B650M-P, and the Gigabyte B650DS3H for about $120. The only boards I avoid here are the Asus Prime B650, as their weaker VRMs aren't great for future upgrades, and they cost about $150. Going up in price, there isn't much difference between the lower price boards and the middle tier, other than some offer a couple more high-speed USB ports. If you do want to spend the extra money and get a board with improved audio, after all, you might have this board through several CPU upgrades, then here's the ones that I would look at. From MSI, the B650 Mortar, Tomahawk, or Edge Wi-Fi start around $199 to $230. From Gigabyte, the B650 Aorus Pro AX or the Aero are identical boards with different styling, and the Aero is often under $200. Note that the Aorus Elite does not have improved audio on it. And from Asus, their Tough Gaming B650 Plus usually sells for around $215, but the Strix B650A is often just a little bit more for quite a bit more features. And recently we've seen sales on the B650F, which is what I'm currently using in my personal PC. ASRock doesn't really have anything with improved audio except for the relatively expensive Tai-Chi board. I'll leave links to these motherboards in the video below, and you can check out current pricing and availability. Now let's talk about the best CPU cooler for the Ryzen 7600 and 7600X. The Ryzen 7600 comes with this included stock cooler, but I 100% recommend changing it out to at least a budget tower air cooler with 4 to 5 heat pipes, like this Deepcool AG400 RGB cooler for around $25 to $30, or this Cooler Master Hyper 212 Halo for about $35 to $40. Other budget tower air coolers are also fine in this performance range, but if you want to go up in cooling, check out the Thermalright Peerless Assassin SE120 or the slightly newer version they call the Phantom Spirit SE120 for about $35, or the Deepcool AG500 for the best thermals and noise, along with amazing aesthetics. You can go with a 240mm all-in-one liquid cooler like the Deepcool LS520 in my personal PC. I set the pump speed at 78% speed for zero pump noise, but really any decent 240mm AIO will be more than enough. Note that with Precision Boost Overdrive turned on, the Ryzen 7600X is a bit more aggressive at eating up available cooling to boost slightly higher. But if the temperatures bother you, then make sure to go into the BIOS and just set a slightly lower maximum operating temperature like 89C. Let's run through the rest of the parts. And we've got specific videos on the best PSU, the best cases, the best SSD for gaming, if you want deeper dives. For the best SSD for our Ryzen 7600 gaming build, remember that even budget NVMe M.2 drives running at PCIe Gen 3 speed are way more than gaming can currently take advantage of, but drives with DRAM have become almost as cheap as DRAM-less ones. So I've begun to recommend options like the Team Group MP34 over options that are only slightly cheaper, like the Silicon Power A60. But honestly, most people can't tell the difference between the performance of the two, so feel free to buy a cheaper DRAM-less one if it helps your budget. For cases, my favorite right now, especially given that many of the good value motherboards are micro ATX, are the BitPhoenix Nova Mesh ARGB for just $52 right now. I absolutely love this little case. Or the Deepcool CC360 ARGB. For those looking for an ATX case, check out the BitPhoenix Nova Mesh ATX version. For those who want the Atrium style case, I love the DIY PC Q3 for micro ATX motherboards, or the Q10 for full ATX motherboards, or the Montech Sky 2 for just $95. For the PSU, since we're using better quality components and bigger power draw GPUs, I'd recommend at least a B tier or higher rated PSU from the PSU Cultist tier list. Right now, my top recommendations are the Corsair RME lineup, like the RM750E for about $99, which is on the new PCIe 5.0 and ATX 3.0 standard, meaning it has the NVIDIA 12-volt high-power connector. Or you can grab an older gen PSU, like the MSI A650TF for a little cheaper, and I'll leave a couple of other units linked down in the video description. So how much does the best Ryzen 7600 gaming build actually cost? I've listed out two different current builds for you to use as a starting point. A $1,200 more budget-friendly Ryzen 7600 and RX 7800 XT combo with air cooler and cheaper motherboard that would destroy 1440p gaming, and a more premium Ryzen 7600 and RX 7900 XT build that would be great at 4K or 240Hz 1440p with a good quality liquid cooler, higher end motherboard, and Atrium style case that comes in right around $1,650. All the parts along with alternates listed down in the video description, and I've also linked all the various videos on RAM, motherboards, PSUs, how to build a PC, and how to set up a PC. And remember, if you got value out of this video, give it a like, as it makes a huge difference to the channel, and of course subscribe. Click that bell icon, that way you get notified when we release cool content. Hey, speaking of cool content, if you join as a member, we do all kinds of fun things like live stream this build right here. We also have a members only Discord, and we've got cool emojis as well. So check that out, and we'll catch you on the next one. cases. Let's get you the best PC case in Hi, welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. And whether you are new or returning PC Builder, 2023 is a great time to build a PC. This PC Parts Display 2023 video will show you what PC parts you need for the best PC build and the best gaming PC build. We'll cover each part what you need. Hi, welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. And whether you're building a budget gaming PC with a Ryzen 5600 or a 4K Ultra gaming PC with a Ryzen 7800X 3D, getting the best motherboard can be really confusing. So we'll cover everything you need to know to get the best motherboard for 5,000 and the best motherboard for 7,000 CPU and give you specific product recommendations. Remember, if you value out of this video, please don't give a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course subscribe and click that bell icon. But if you are doing a new PC build with one of them, then any plugins I suggest are extremely 600 will also apply. Great design options for budget game builds. In particular, or this Cooler Master Hybrid 212 Halo for about $35 to $40. Other budget tower air coolers are also fine in this performance range, but if you the video description, right now in the US, a 2x16GB kit. So what's the best price? For a deeper dive, check out our Best Ryzen Motherboard 2023 video. So what B650 motherboard should you get? Well, right now, there's the budget tier motherboards, which offer most of the features that gamers want, except for improved audio, and they range about $110 to $180. Then we have boards that also include improved audio, but not much else, other than maybe they look a little nicer, and a couple of more upgraded USB ports. They start around $190 to $250. Now that's a pretty big gap,